So, hi everybody. This is kind of interesting. This is Coffee Talk, fill your cup with possibilities. And I was trying to stream it into the Coffee Talk group on Facebook, but today it doesn't let me. So here we are on my public page. And I'm here with my friend Jenny from New Jersey, and we're going to be talking possibilities.
Yeah, and I'm super excited to be here and thank you for inviting me.
I just adore you. You're so fun to play
Right
with.
back at you.
Aw.
Yes, we have, there's a compatibility there.
Yeah, and it's so fun to meet people from around the world that, you spark things in each other. And so it's like leapfrog or popcorn, and it gets greater and greater and greater as
Yeah.
you play. So right before we got on, we were just talking about how you're renovating that house that you're in, and it definitely looks so much brighter than when I came out a
Totally.
couple years ago.
Yes, I had just, we inherited this house from my in-laws, and my husband did not want to touch anything. And I can understand that, he grew up here.
Mhm.
But there were a couple of times I would come here and the house was talking to me, and it wanted to look alive. It wanted to feel energy. It wanted to have classes here, and things like that happened to me. I'm a realtor, and houses just kind of have certain energies. And as I mentioned earlier, this is a female house.
Mm.
So I wanted to have bright colors, beautiful things, silver, gold, and little by little, believe it or not, once I took out the old carpeting, and I found these amazing, beautiful hardwood floors that
This is
barely, because they were
crazy
covered.
that
They
people would do that they would cover.
Well, because back in the 70s, it was the thing to do,
Yeah.
but now
Yeah.
we're like, what? But anyway, so I took it literally, pulled out, and I said, oh my God. So I hired somebody to help me take it out. And
Mhm.
then there was some heavy curtains, and I said, what that? And so I pulled it out one day, and I said, oh my God, the house is coming alive. And next
Mm.
thing people started calling me, Jenny, I have this beautiful piece and I thought of you. Would you like this piece of furniture? And I said, okay. And paintings came to me, because I'm a realtor. I go to houses and I may make a comment like, oh, that's a beautiful painting. If you ever decide, because you're selling the house, if you don't want to take it, let me know. People kept calling me about certain things. And little by little, this house just started to liven up. And we were just talking about that chandelier, that it so doesn't go with the house. And I want something super elegant and
Like
feminine,
that one.
like that. Yes.
That I have
So
this thing with chandeliers, and I find them all over the place. And chandeliers can be quite expensive.
yeah.
That one I found when I was going on a walk in my neighborhood, and somebody was having a yard sale,
Wow.
and they were asking $200 for it, and that's worth like $1,200.
Exactly. As
So
I've
I'm
been
like, I'll be
pricing
right
them.
back with cash.
Exactly. So, it's a matter of having a congruency with the energy of the house. If it were
Mhm.
more male energy, I probably wouldn't pick a chandelier like that. But you know what? It's when you go into a home and it just kind of makes you feel wonderful and excited and like, ah, that's when
Mhm.
you know what
Mhm.
it's looking for, and when you add a certain piece of furniture or you add a painting or something, when it works. And I'm
Yeah.
sure because I've been to your house, and my mouth just kept dropping at the beauty all around us.
It's really, thank you. It's really funny because I'm always changing things up too. And I got some new pillows, and it just totally changed this antique love seat that my grandmother handed down to me. I recovered it, and these new pillows have just made it go bing. It's like brand new again.
And
Uh,
just knowing that there's history, that there's that it was loved before, and it's wood, it's nature, right? It's
Hmm.
nature made into something that's functional for us, but we still
Yeah.
appreciate it. Don't always think that it's nature, but it really is. It's earth contributing to us in so many ways, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And as a person who loves comfort and beauty, it's
Yes,
really important that it looks nice as well as feels good.
yes, totally. Totally.
And who says you can't have both? Have it all.
Yes. And I guess what questions can we ask to have that? You know, it's like in this reality, we're always like either accepting things or
Hmm.
getting upset about things that you can't change
Hmm.
or living with it. Okay, I can settle for that. But what can we be or do that would create a different reality for us?
Yeah. Yeah. And even have the willingness to move things. Like I know that in my family, they kept the furniture in the same place and kept the same thing like forever
Right.
till the carpet wore through threadbare and it's just like, wait a second,
A
you
very
know,
different mindset.
there it really is. And like when I get a new plant or some new pillows or something, and I'll sit in the room and I'll just feel the movement of the energy and like it's so happy. It's not static.
Yes.
But then, in a week or two, it's changed. And it's
Yeah.
like, wow, what else needs to happen? What
Yeah.
else can I change, choose, add, take away
Right.
to continue that feeling? Because I guess I really like that energetic flow.
Yes.
And most people probably don't even
are,
realize.
are not even aware that you
Yeah.
can have that. You can ask for, when I go into houses, I ask for what would it take for me to feel comfort? What would it take for me to feel when I walk in the door to feel joy and beauty and relaxation? And
Hmm.
so I go shopping, and then I see a pillow and it matches that. And I say, oh,
Hmm.
perfect. So I bought, that's how I match the energy of what I want in my home.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like those things talk to you too. Like the
Yes.
pillow talks to you, the
Oh, yes.
plants talk to you. And
Crystals.
that's something that, I mean, I think it's natural for things to talk to you, but a lot of people might be like, what?
Yes.
Like your shoes are talking to you, that plant is talking to you. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And if you
Yeah.
ask gardeners, they're like, yeah, the plant tells me where to plant it in the yard so that it gets the kind of sunlight it's looking for.
Interesting. Yeah. And what would it take for all of us to have that kind of connection with our environment? You know?
Hmm. Yeah,
Beautiful.
I think maybe the first piece is to just be still for a moment and recognize how much you do pick up and what you are aware of, because it's generally the I don't hear anything talking to me
Right.
point of view
Yeah.
that blocks the super light awareness
Yeah.
that's showing up all the time.
And I'll be honest with you, about 10 years ago or 5 years ago, before I started with my search in access consciousness, actually, I wasn't open to anything. But I didn't know the whispers was that there was a different possibility. So I started going out in my yard, and I have 2 acres in my other house, and I heard voices. I mean, I heard the rocks calling me, the flowers calling me, and I started waking up. And it's a matter of practicing, right? It's a matter
Hmm.
of practicing because not everybody is born to that. So,
Hmm.
what would it take to start using that kind of just that awakening and that muscle? Because it's a muscle.
Hmm. Yeah.
And,
And it's kind of interesting is like I just feel like I've always had that with lots of different things.
mhm.
And I've played with it myself over my lifetime to develop it. It's like the telepathy and
Yes,
all of that kind of cool stuff. But what I found when I started taking some of the specialty class, talk to the entities in
Yes.
access consciousness, that actually is a great way to strengthen that awareness of the things that aren't seen per se,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that most people can't hear, but are there and that are contributing all the time. And
Yeah.
when you open to that, like so much magic shows up in your life.
Yeah, that's so true. In fact, when we think about it, when I tell people, because I love that class, and you actually introduced me to it, I still use the manual, in
Oh.
that intro and that class. It's usually in my car because you never know, something may pop up. Um, I do perceive, and like I said, I'm in real estate. So
Hmm.
the homes actually talk to me. I sometimes walk in and I feel sad. And sometimes I walk in and I don't feel anything but bland. And sometimes I walk in, like I walk into this house now, and it's like so happy and it's so alive. And I know that could be duplicated with other
Hmm.
houses. You just have to start asking, what would what does this house need? Or do I have a buyer or do I have a seller? That kind of thing. So you
Right.
can apply it to everyday work, if you will.
Yeah. Well, houses are themselves are an entity,
Correct. Yeah.
and then the things that you put in them, and then there can be entities in houses too,
Yes.
separate.
Yes.
So it's complicated.
It's a little bit complicated, a little bit more than probably people are aware of, but if you have that spark in you, find out more, research, I know you have a YouTube channel, and I'm sure you talk about things like that. So if anybody
Probably.
has any inkling about what we're talking about, there's so much out there, talking to the entities of houses, the entities of trees, and in general entities, if you will, you know.
Have you had a haunted house before?
Oh, every house. I just went this morning before this conversation. I went to a house I showed over the weekend to a couple and they loved it. I mean, they were placing an offer. And this morning I went back because I didn't really I usually go in before and I kind of talk to it. I didn't have a chance this time. My
Mm,
clients got there 5 minutes before I did. So it was like, okay, come on. But I went back to it today and I asked, what are you looking for? What is there anything I can contribute here? And I asked it if there's any entities that want to communicate or that want to be cleared or that have a message for someone. And the message I got was like, I'm bored looking the way I am.
mm,
I want a family that will really adore me and make me look new. So
mm,
it's a dated house, old-fashioned wallpaper. It's got a pool, a beautiful pool, and the rooms have these beautiful hardwood floors, but they're like stained.
mm,
It has not been given much attention.
mm.
So I'm hoping that my clients will be the ones, I think they will be the ones that the house picks, because the house will pick.
Yes.
I had so many instances where we placed offers and my offer was not accepted. And next thing you know, a couple of days later, they call me back and say, you know what, are your clients still interested? Because that offer they accepted fell through. Now we're looking for new. It has happened to me many times.
That's pretty interesting. So you
Yeah.
must still be staying in the question, because if you were like, well, that didn't work, then you cut
Yes.
off that connection.
Correct. And it's not only me, I have to educate my clients.
That's so true.
I always say, let's place the offer. You like the house, that's great. Let's do everything we can to get the house, but let's see what the universe has for us. Let's see if it's the right vibrationally compatible to you. And if it is, trust me, it will come back. Even if it may have not appear at the beginning. And it I we 99.9% the house matches and they're super happy with it. Only
That's so
once
cool.
did I experience a situation before I even had these tools where somebody was forcing themselves to get this house regardless. They would do anything. They weren't even treating me well.
Mm,
Like they would just, I don't care, get me that house, blah, 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 blah. We got the house. We even closed, the closing happened at 7 o'clock at night at the house because the woman was insistent about it had to close that day. I had heard years later, like within a year and a half, that the couple divorced
mm.
and it just was not compatible, but she
Probably
forced
don't
herself.
have any more clients like that either.
I don't.
It
I
just
didn't
doesn't
know the
seem like
tools, you
your
know?
vibe.
Yeah, I didn't have those kind of tools, but now I know there's so much we don't see, there's
Mhm.
so much out there and everything talks to each other. And if the house wants a couple, the
Mhm.
house will have that couple, whatever, or that person, whatever
It's
it
so
takes.
true.
So
Yeah.
we just have to stay in the question. It's like, what
Yeah.
will contribute the most to blah, blah, blah. And so every day, whenever I'm especially with clients that know me by now, they're like, what question can we ask Jenny? So
That's awesome.
they're picking up some of the tools without me telling them, it's like, this is access. I don't need to say that. I'm being the tools. Yeah.
Yeah. That's so awesome. Yeah. I noticed a similar thing at this show that I was at yesterday. And there were a lot of people, this was like a psychic fair. So
Mhm.
there were a lot of people who were looking for answers and looking for healing and
Mhm.
miracles because they're like, at their last straw.
Mhm.
And I have I have these elixir pendants, and some of
Yeah.
them are for healing, and some of them are for, lucky and love. And I really do use the energies of the gemstones, and they tell me, and it's like I make these little, it's almost like baking a cake, but
Yeah.
it's a necklace. And this one girl came up, and she obviously had a wig on,
Yeah.
and she was like, I need a miracle. And so we did a gemstone reading, and
Hmm.
I mentioned the different gemstones that would contribute to her and whatever she was going through. She didn't tell me a lot, but she just said, I really need some
Mhm.
healing, and I'm moving away from some dark stuff, and I'm trying to choose more light. And it's interesting because when people are looking at something like a necklace or earrings, they gravitate towards what they know and what they normally like. And she's like, I like purple. So she wanted this other one. But when she put it on, it didn't give her the energy
Hmm.
that is other ones. So I had her try on a bunch of different ones. And there was this one that was the healing goddess necklace. And it
Wow.
just like I could feel my whole body getting tingles from head to toe when she put it on.
Yeah.
So I know what it was creating. And she's like, well, I can't afford it. And she walked away. And I was like, okay, at least you know which gemstones. And when you find something, make sure it feels like that, because that was an experience she had. And she came back later on with her mother, and her mother said, it doesn't matter how much it costs, I'll get it for you. And she was
Wow.
just so happy.
Wow.
But
And I
it's like
wonder,
that thing where the necklace chose her,
yes.
and I didn't go to conclusion. Yay. But
Nor did you lower the price, nor did you do anything. You just said, okay, basically you probably said, what else is possible?
yeah,
So
and it's
interesting.
it's really cool to educate people on what feels good to them, and getting out of their head of, well, is this the right thing, or should I do this? It's like, just close your eyes and sense it. And she tried on a bunch of different pieces, and she got the different energies of what contribution was. And there were some people who were like, I don't wear jewelry, I'm not that kind of person. I'm like, okay, well, no problem. And,
Yeah.
you could get the contribution that it can be. And they're like, what?
Yeah.
What?
You're speaking in another language, Julie.
It's food for your body. It's
Yes,
energetic food.
yes.
And, it's not right. It's just an option that you can choose.
Mhm.
And for me, it makes me feel good. So,
Yeah, and me too. So, so
and,
what else is possible?
yeah.
And again, every opportunity we have to offer a new possibility for people. It's really like new possibilities
Hmm.
and to create a greater life or more richer life, you
Yeah.
know?
And like including your body in it, because a lot of people are in their head trying to figure out what's the right thing, not to do the wrong thing,
Mhm,
um, all of that mental stuff. But
mhm.
even, trying out sofas and trying out homes and trying out anything,
Yeah.
it's your body that is experiencing it. So you want to check in with your body and see what it thinks, what its points of view are.
Yes, and it's a muscle. It's a muscle um we have to use on a regular basis to really get it to actually start talking to us without even a second thought, you know?
Hmm. Yeah.
So awesome.
Yeah. What else should we talk about? Oh, there's a squirrel like running around my backyard. He's very happy. Wow, bristling tail.
Let's
Ah,
see.
so it's funny, right before we got on, I had a bit of a headache and it was a really busy weekend. I drove for hours. I got up super early. I ended up getting home really late and
Hmm.
working the whole day standing up, working with lots of people. And um, one of the things that I do when I have a headache are I do the bars points, the points on the head, depending on where it
Mm.
hurts.
Mm-hmm.
And if you haven't learned access bars or experience access bars, it's amazing. Don't you host bars trades out
I
there?
host them pretty frequently. I had one at on Earth Day, actually. We had one at a local farm, a sanctuary, an animal. It's called Celestial Acres Sanctuary. And I perceived even the animals were happy to have us there. So
That's so
yes,
nice.
and as I teach at the bars as well, and it's not about going to a bar to get a drink. It's about, which some people say, what is that? It's
It's better.
about, huh? It's
It's
much
better.
better. But it's a technique that we are now using that I perceive is the future in medicine.
Mm.
It's 32 points on the head that are lightly touched, and it will dissipate energy, stuck energy. All our thoughts, feelings, and emotions have electrical components. And once you touch your head, all those electrical components depending on what you're touching will get dissipated and your life will get more ease. And yes, it works with headaches. In
Yeah.
fact, my father was up, I'm originally from Ecuador, and my father lives there. He retired there, and he comes up once a year to visit the family. He stays with my brother, and he's a very like energetic, he's in his late 80s, but he's always like doing things. And just maybe 2 years ago, he was still climbing a ladder and kind of fixing a roof. So that's the kind of energetic person he is. But this time he came and he says, I fell the other day and now I'm using a cane
Mm.
and now my back hurts. And he would never touch aspirin. It's just not him. But he said,
Mhm.
I actually had to take some Tylenol. So I said, Dad, let me show you a different possibility. So I always carry my massage table in my car because you never know.
Right.
So I brought it up and I ran his bars, and he's like, oh, what is, he kept asking questions, but he started talking about his youth and how he was in, he grew up at the jungles in Ecuador. So he's very free spirited, climbing trees, jumping into the river, catching fish. But anyway, so he brought up a lot of that stuff. And I used the clearing statement, even though he didn't understand it, and it doesn't matter because it still works. Next thing you know, a couple of days later, he said, my pain's gone and I have no desire to use a cane.
Hmm.
So he said, when are you going to run my bars again?
That's
So
amazing. Wow.
89
Yeah.
years.
I remember I ran my dad's bars like pretty early on when I found Access, so a long time ago. And he, after we were done, he was like, "Oh my God, I feel so good. I want to jump for joy." He actually said that I want to jump for joy. And then, like the next day, he completely forgot. And he's like, "What is this bars thing?" So it's really kind of funny
Yeah.
how you can experience it, you can have a shift, but if it doesn't match your point of view,
Yes.
you can like negate it or go back.
Yeah.
And, that's fine. It's not for everybody, but
No, and it's not
definitely
right or
sounds.
wrong. It's not right or wrong, good or bad. It's just a new possibility that may be available to those that are seeking alternative medicine or seeking to feel better naturally, to be able to wake up regardless of your age and not have any pains.
Hmm.
Or, we talked about last week about reverse aging.
Hmm.
It's like there are techniques that we have that, I feel better now than I did 10 years ago.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
and it's all
Yeah.
about what we're using,
It's so
what
true.
tools.
And, um, I have to say, I saw some people yesterday who used to do access bars a long time ago and they stopped and they look very different and I look the same
Yeah. Yeah.
as years ago. So it is definitely
Yeah.
there is the reverse aging as a
Thing.
side effect. It really is.
Yeah. Yeah. I see
Even
it.
if you're working a lot and doing all kinds of things, yeah, you don't have, it's like the stuff written on your face are all your points of view. And when you clear those points of view, there's nothing to write on your face. So it's just happy.
Yeah. Yeah. And your body too. It's not just your face, it's your whole body that feels.
Mhm.
I had chronic knee problems and ankle problems. I it from college. And
Mm,
nothing worked. I mean, I was even considering getting surgery. And
mm,
something told me, no, don't do it, don't do it. And then I started working with Access Consciousness, the bars, facelift, and some other tools that we offer, and the pain's gone. So,
wow,
yeah, it's
that's a
easy.
miracle.
That is total miracle. So,
Well, cool. Just as we're wrapping up today, do you have anything coming up that you'd like to share?
yeah, actually am offering a bars class on Saturday here in my Livingston home. And it's on the Access Consciousness website if anybody's interested. And yeah, I do one-on-one sessions and what else is truly possible, if you
Cool.
choose. How about you?
Well, I'm going to Europe for a few weeks, but when I come back at the end of May, I'm teaching a beginning talk to the entities class
My,
here in San
oh,
Francisco area. So if anybody is curious about that, you can check that
and
out.
are there any prerequisites for that class?
Anybody can join the introduction. It's an evening Zoom and the in-person workshop over the weekend. The only requirement is a bars class.
Okay,
And I think I will have a bars class just
for that. Yeah.
prior to, yeah, in case.
So, so for those of you listening that have any fears or anything around, which I was one of them, I was petrified. This is such an amazing class, and what a contribution for me at least, and for those that I know that have taken the class to really open up a whole new world of contribution, because it's been such a contribution for me, from my job, from all the jobs that I do, not just for Access Consciousness, but for really the world, because I see that the world, earth, and everything around us that is not seen, if you will, because not everybody sees these things.
Yeah.
But it's truly a contribution.
Yeah. It seems like the people who have the most resistance probably have the most capacity
Yes,
in that area.
yeah,
So if you're resistant, you can stick your little toe in the water and just do the intro
yeah,
and find out it's actually not fear, it's excitement.
yeah,
And like it opens up a whole new world of
yeah,
possibilities.
yeah.
So
And I'm
cool.
proof of it.
I think
And
that's
Julie's class
awesome.
opened that up for me.
I'm so
So I'm
glad.
very grateful.
I am grateful for you. And thank you, everybody, for listening. And this will also be on my YouTube channel. So thank you, people in the future listening. And how does it get better? Have a great week,
It does it.
everybody.
Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.